Welcome back to Inward Bound for Mindful Living. We left off, Mr. Surashi, during the last break at how you showed me personally how something that I'm passionate about, running, how I can incorporate this into that. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of others who are watching who don't have running as a passion, but who have so many other things as passions. Could you maybe enlighten them as well on how to incorporate
Yes, of
them?
course. The one thing I wanted to tell you at that time was, like you were saying, it is becoming a part of your routine. It is good, but at the same time, one idea of being mindful is not to have any burdens. So I don't want you to have practicing mindfulness to be another burden in life, right? So if you feel, oh, I couldn't do my formal mindful practice this morning, therefore I feel hopeless. It's okay to be hopeless, right? And become aware that I am hopeless, right? At that moment. So you let go of that burden, right? That's side advice that I could give you. But I always say it's very good to do it on a regular basis so you develop your ability to apply. Now from running, there are so many things that we do day to day, right? And for example, let's take another common thing like driving or riding, right? Now, driving is a very good thing to bring your mind to the present moment. And I have had a couple of near misses or minor accidents in my driving life, right? But I can tell you, at every moment where I had a minor accident or I had a near miss, at that moment my mind was not on driving. I was thinking something else, right? So driving can be used to remind myself I'm driving. It's not like you drive and say I'm driving. No. When you drive, you get into the total mode of driving, right? Being aware of the road conditions, everything that requires you to have a good drive. But then you have these moments while driving, you start thinking so many things, which is not driving then. Then so you think you are multitasking, but what happens is you reduce your efficiency. You talked about focus, right? We will discuss a little bit more about focus later, but you lose focus because in focus it's 100%, right? So if you give 100% to driving, then you will know, oh, I'm not driving, so why don't I bring my mind back to driving? And in fact, there's research done in UK and all places like that on this whole phenomenon of safe driving, and it is confirmed scientifically that if you don't keep your mind in driving, then you are prone to accidents. Right? All successful drivers who have done thousands of miles without a single accident, these truckers and all. So when they asked, they said, we are 100% on the job. Right? We are constantly being aware of what happens and fully aware of the whole situation. So that's like not being focused on a small thing, but focus on a full screen. Right? Like for example, say when you are looking from a camera, you can either look at a tiny little bit or of the whole frame. Right? This is like looking at the whole frame. Then take a simple thing like a daily routine like cooking or preparing things maybe tea or whatever. Then you can fully aware of the whole process. At the initial stages, somebody can even start labeling the process. For example, say you are making a cup of tea. Say I'm pouring, label the process, stirring, so that gives you a preliminary base for somebody to become aware. This labeling is not needed as you grow in your practice, but it's a simple thing that you can practice saying, I'm pouring, I'm washing, I'm bending, I'm folding, Then when you come to think of it, everything in your daily life can be a moment. For example, take a cup of tea, right? I know most of us have our morning cup of tea or coffee in a mighty hurry, but maybe on Sunday morning, right? And or when you go to a coffee shop and have a coffee alone, try to enjoy that whole coffee. You say you grab it and then feel the sensations into your hand, the weight of the cup. And as you bring it in, become aware of the movement. And then as you touch your lips with the cup, see the temperature and the sensation. And as the coffee goes into your mouth, and see where you get the taste. And as you swallow it, see how it goes through and how the whole sensation, right? And before you do that, maybe even the aroma of the coffee. So you can see all your senses become alert, and you will enjoy every bit of the coffee. Because if you're paying such a fancy price,
you might as well. If I may interject, Mr. Suryarakshi, I think from what I gather, see, most people would even say that, running, making tea, or let's say running or swimming or riding a bicycle, all of these things, at least in the case of running for me, is also a thinking process.
Yes.
We tend to, I think I've had this discussion with you before as well. We tend to have these things so that we focus and we think about certain things while we do so. So each person has their different techniques of doing it. But the beauty of being aware and having this technique is that you don't necessarily, now that I come to think of it, you don't necessarily need to allocate time for it. It can be woven into or intrinsic to pretty much everything that you do as well.
Not only that, I think it gave me an opportunity for you to describe how mindfulness helps you to find solutions to problems. Like a lot of us, those have, like you're jogging, some people have, when they want to think of something, like you are an admin, you want to think of a campaign, right? You just start thinking and then you go on your jog and you might get an idea. What happens really is, when you are on that mode, you reduce all the unnecessary clutter in your mind, right? When the mind is quiet, you allow this enormous amount of ideas and images and thoughts, words that are in your memory to bring into an interesting combination and throw out as a new solution. Right? Most of these eureka moments are not completely new things, but they are an amalgamation of things that they were never before. In Sinhala we say apurva. Apurva means peranovu. It means not here before. So why? Because you allow the mind to be quietened. Right? So mindfulness also allows you to touch that silence. Right? So I'm not saying if you have the habit of jogging to find a solution to a problem, by all means do that. I'm not saying, no, the only way to jog is by being mindful about jogging. But if you realize the benefit of mindfulness and you want to improve, so you can then weave that into the same process. Right? So I'm not saying you cannot jog thinking. You can jog thinking. But if you want to practice mindfulness and develop, then you can do that also while jogging. Incorporate it into jogging.
I think we'll have to take one more break, and we'll come back to a point that you mentioned earlier on focus once we come back. So we'll take a quick break.